Hello and welcome to UKVersus. We have just been talking about the Warhammer Titan and the funny things you can do with it, but now we are going to be talking about the Universus Content Creator Summit. Myself and Sam will be going. Unfortunately, Cameron was not able to attend, so we're going to be talking about not too much about the itinerary, but using the itinerary to sort of like go over the topics that will be brought up at the summit, what we expect from that, what we're hoping to gain from that in ourselves, what we're looking to bring up, and of course, what Cameron can input as someone who isn't going but has a lot of things to say about the state of the game and the way that UVS is running it. You can't believe the stuff he says off camera.
Wow, hyping me
Hello,
up all over the place.
hello, and welcome to Sam Tate, the innovator of so many different formats.
That's kind of true, actually. Now that you mention it, I'm just trying to keep casual universes interesting, I guess, and it's tough to get any one idea to catch on.
You'll find your commander style casual event someday.
Someday, I think. In the beginning, I think there was like a card pool issue where there wasn't enough cards to make it interesting. So maybe now's the time to like relaunch that initiative. But I know for a fact that in the year 2025, if your card game doesn't have multiplayer, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, don't. I mean, there are specific card games coming out this year that are designed with multiplayer in mind.
Isn't Commander the one where you're only allowed one copy of any card in your deck?
Yeah, essentially, it'd be like playing a Universus singleton deck.
So just
Yeah,
play
it's-
Connie. Play Connie with 30 different copies of one different attack and just go ham.
And Momo 3 is really good in that format as well.
There you go.
Historia, right?
Universus Commander is just Connie versus Momo 3, and yeah. It's Revenge of the Threes.
I think we'd have to. I
Actually-
think the first ban list in that format would be researching the answer, because that is just absolute madness in singleton. Which that's the one that gives increases your hand size if you have six
No,
different.
no. You don't give it. You don't ban it. You errata it to be infinity, so everyone can use it, and then it's not overpowered.
I don't
'Cause
know if that's
Infinity
how
did nothing
power
wrong.
levels work.
I don't know. If you go off what David Toombs was saying, giving things like that infinity makes them more powerful and less fair.
But if everybody's special, nobody is.
I think the main thing is there's never going to be a ban list until people start playing it.
This is
so-
true. This is true. Yeah. So we need to get Universus Singleton going, and we need a lot more love for the Joust format because the Joust format is a lot of fun.
For the purposes of branding, we should call it Highlander.
There can be only one.
I mean,
Exactly.
But is it the old Adrian Paul Highlander, or is it the new Henry Cavill Highlander?
It's Ace's Highlander.
Ah,
As long as I
gotcha.
get to be
It's like
Sean, as long as I get to be
play on
Sean
words.
Connery, don't care.
So it's Christopher Lambert's
Ah.
Highlander. Gotcha.
Have you guys ever played the Highlander CCG?
No,
There's a
it is.
CCG for Highlander?
I mean, it
There's-
came out in the
there's-
80s, early 90s, so that's when
Yeah.
everything got a CCG.
It came out, like 95 or something, and like it
Missed
just
that
has
one.
a weirdly interesting. It has like a weirdly similar lifespan as Universus. Like
Oh.
I think it finally actually did die like around COVID time, around 2020. But I used to follow their forums, and it's shockingly similar to the UFS journey.
That's crazy. Did you know that Netrunner's having a world championship this year in
Yes,
Edinburgh?
I part of the Space
Oh my God,
Cow
they had
Media
tournaments.
group that I'm in, which this is actually going to be the last month that I'm writing articles for Card Gamer.
Ah.
But I'm gonna probably keep doing them on Patreon. So, like, side note, I need to advertise that. But they've been talking all about the Netrunner World Championship, and they have like a new box coming out and stuff. So I've been up to date on all the Netrunner stuff actually.
Yeah, I'm in the Card Gamer Reddit, so I can post my stuff in there as well. And it is a great spot for news.
I keep forgetting to actually post. I don't know if my editor does it. It doesn't matter now because they're under new management and firing all the writers. But
That's
you
true.
know,
But anyway, so we have the content creator the summer content creator 2025. We still have the fall one to come. It has been 11 months since the last one, and despite technically being in your backyard, you weren't invited to that one. It looks like we've got a whole new crop of content creators. Mainly, a lot of people couldn't make it. Some people, like myself, are spending a ridiculous amount of money to get out there to take part in it. And it's from what I can tell, it's a lot different than last time, which is going to be very, very cool. But as a first-time attendee, Sam, what are you expecting from it?
This is kind of a cop-out answer, but I'm really trying to go in there with no expectations. I think as far as like community interaction with Universus Games, the company, I think this is sort of the opportunity to meet the people, not the company. And I want to have expectations of Universus Games, the company, like the entity, not really the people themselves. And like going into this meeting like with expectations, I just feel like is the wrong attitude to have because they're not like doing me a service. I'm not like paying for them to do stuff for me. They're inviting me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's not like last time where everyone was kind of flown out there and it was no, I don't want to say special treat, but it was kind of like an exclusive thing that only a selective like people came to. This time we've had to apply for it. We've had to get like approved for it. We've had to earn our way there and then pay our way there. So it kind of makes more sense to not going with any kind of expectations or overhypeness or stuff and going with that clear mind of I need to kind of take this as it comes.
Yeah, I think the mentality I have is that I just hope that it is worth my time, I guess. Like I hope I learned something basically. Um because I'm gonna be missing out on playing retro in the side events on Friday for this.
For those that aren't, for those we hadn't actually covered this yet, but last year the summit started at about 9-10 o'clock and went on until about 4. So when I was planning my day, I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I might miss out on like the first couple of events, but I can go into some side events. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but the summit starts at 3:30 in the afternoon. So essentially, the people going to the summit, we don't get to take part in side events. We might be able to grind in a couple of boss battles if we're feeling cheeky.
Sad day.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me is this is gonna be one of like I don't know 4 opportunities I'll get to play retro at an event this year. And I'm giving it up to go to the Creator Summit. So again, not to be like ungrateful because they're like inviting me to come hang out and chat about the future of the card game that we all love. But if it's really just like an early product demo, if the majority of this is just to be like, hey, here's product that's gonna come out and like here's a sneak peek at like what Guilty Gear cards will look like and like maybe a new mechanic or something, you know, and especially if it's not stuff I can make content on, right? Like if it's all NDA'd, there is a chance that I might have just preferred like playing retro and supporting retro. But that does feel kind of entitled to say. That's just like my only real concern.
It makes a lot of sense. And like you said, retro is one of those formats, especially for yourself who's been playing a very long time, where you get to play with cards that you don't get to play with anymore.
Templar. We get to play with Templar. You can say his name.
I'm very excited that UK Games Expo, which we have in about a month, has got a retro event happening there. So that's like a whole day dedicated by UVS for retro, which is going to be absolutely great. Hopefully Gen Con ones get along those lines. But yes, it's been almost a year, so my memory is not as good as it used to be. But from what I remember, last year's summit was a lot of early previews. A lot of us kind of sitting there listening to the presentations and offering our feedbacks or listening to them. And then after, like when we look at the itinerary, when we get to the content creation stuff, like towards the end of the summit here, but when we did it with UVS last time, that's the part that kind of stuck out to me when I saw like my thumbnail up there with the other 9 content creators up there, and I saw how bad it was in comparison to other people, and I was listening to all the stuff that other people are doing, and listening to Paul talking about Tam's Learn to Play video, which is a blank script that he can literally put other skins on. So he can make a Critical Role one, he can make a Godzilla one, he can make a TMNT one just by editing over the audio he already had and just recreating this blanket video. It kind of lit a fire under me to go, well, I made it to the first summit. If I want to keep going to these ones, I need to change the way I'm doing content. And I mean, I have been almost posting daily since the last summit.
Yeah, you're insane.
But yeah, well, hopefully you don't regret going to the summit over retro. I will have my retro deck on me, so I'm sure we can, at some point throughout the day, we can also play a little bit of retro.
But pop quiz, guys, what are you both playing for retro?
I'm playing my favorite reaction deck, where I'm playing Dabby 1, and I just build, and then they play their attack, and I go, oh cool, first enhance, my next attack gets +3 damage, and they go, oh no,
Reversal Dabby.
Reversal Dabby.
And I am playing base, and all my attacks are safe, and no one will ever reversal
You
me.
gotta
ever.
play it with Guardian Slasher. You're doing it wrong.
No. Save my
What's
one
funny is
weakness.
that's one of my locals' favorite characters, and that's his favorite deck. So
Base?
you have a fan in him now.
Well, I don't actually have a retro deck put together because I'm gonna be at the summit, right? So I wasn't planning to.
Well, you need to build one so that you can play with Brett, so he doesn't take it for nothing.
Oh no.
The real problem with I was gonna say though, I do hate that so much of retro is dominated by reversals, just because it's the only place to play them, and it actually gets so frustrating that like 90. Well, until I see the reversal keyword, Echo is not multiple, damn it.
True.
But so yeah, every time I play retro with people casually, I'm just burnt out. I'm playing against Jackie Briggs and Karama and literally any life water character that plays air ground smash just because it says deadlock reversal and they can add it to their hand with precise blow. I mean, the best deck I played in Denver when I won the retro side event that had like 10 people or whatever. The hardest deck I played against was a Jetta deck who just plays one attack, adds it back to his hand, and then holds it for my turn. And like the board state never progresses. It's so frustrating.
The last
Just
retro
imagine
deck.
when you get Warhammer Titan with Guardian Slash and you could pick it up every turn.
The last retro deck I played, I can't play in Albuquerque because it's Rochester retro, I believe.
Yeah.
And
That's the only retro format.
And it was Mina 1 Colossal Thermal Blast. So I check it and then I get to play it.
Wait, did Thermal Blast get banned?
Yeah,
In Rochester Retro.
Rochester Retro banned it.
Why?
Because
of Drill Man and Natali 2.
Natalie just getting to play it for free. Mina 1
Ban
getting to play it for free.
Man, what? We're banning the cool 13 diff instead of the character that plays not just the 13 diff, but the 10 diff and the 9 diff and the 8 diff and the 7 diff.
Oh yeah.
Ban the problem card.
Mina,
This is just like that time where they banned Terry Bogard instead of the problem assets.
Yeah, Mina. I had a lot of fun with playing Mina 1 with just a tribal 4 check and just going, I'll build. Oh, cool. I'm going second. I checked an unexpected outcome. Let's play it for free. It's like, oh, cool. I'm taking 8 damage in turn 1. It's like, yes, you.
Mina 1. Why is the 13 diff isn't even the best attack to hit with her? What are we doing here?
Oh, yeah, well, it's because they also banned in Rochester Retro attacking turn 1, so you've got a bit more time to set up.
Drill Man already bans attacking on turn 1. It's written on the card.
But Natali 2 doesn't.
I'm just saying.
Don't put Mina 1 on their list. I mean, I want to play more fun Mina 1 stuff. Falling Titans seems a lot more fun in Mina 1 when I can play it when I check it.
I'm just saying, it looks like there's an obvious issue with characters that play high difficulty attacks for free.
Yes.
But I don't think that the 13 diff 7 mid 7 is the one I'm worried about.
No. The 13 diff free check that builds up all foundations that you can play at the end of that if you check it and you've just been building all turn is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm on a bit of a time limit today, so we'll go through A few of the
sorry. What? Real quick, does that mean I can play Drillman with Colossal Detonation? That's my retro deck.
I think so.
If they banned Thermal Detonation, but not Colossal Detonation, and if I remember correctly, Drillman has Chaos.
Chaos
that's my
Fire
retro
Void,
deck.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my retro deck. Colossal Detonation Drillman.
Do it.
So
Make them regret.
You heard it here first. Retro deck profile coming from Ace Maneuvers. Drillman
Yeah.
Colossal Detonation.
0 Foundation Drillman because we're not gonna have him. Neither of us.
So let's
If
go.
I can't have it, no one can.
So there's going to be a few topics that are going to be covered throughout the summit. We'll go through what we're expecting to see from there and what we're looking to get from there when it comes to asking questions or just trying to find out the information that we want around that topic. The first of which will be game design. So we'll be diving into new mechanics, development process, and upcoming gameplay evolutions. So we'll be seeing what's coming in the future, as well as hopefully they'll be giving us some tricks how to showcase them. But personally, for myself, I want to find out more about how Attuned and Blitz have done 1 year on.
Oh, like if they're going to continue, since they're so far ahead in design anyway, if they're going to change design philosophy based on what they've seen in the past
So
year and a half.
Attuned and so we do get to ask questions. We will get to follow up and like stuff like that. There's an open forum where we can ask anything, but specifically around design, it's one of those things that last year's summit was when they showcased Attuned and Blitz to me, and my initial reaction to Attuned was, "How do you draft this?" And then we got modified draft. So, I'm not saying those two are connected, but my initial reaction was, "You can't draft this."
Nobody drafts anyways. It's just sealed, right?
Some people draft. I did a draft for AOT1 at my locals when it was still locals.
All the pre-releases I know about are sealed, and I feel like with Attuned, if you were actually drafting, it shouldn't be too bad. But everyone's doing sealed, so it's just hope you open 40 cards that match your character.
But last year they were also doing like the £10 draft things, well, the $10, £10 draft things at regionals. So it was kind of on my mind at events that they were trying to push draft.
I'm not familiar. I know that we started doing bring your own booster box draft, which has had mixed reactions.
So
yeah,
last year
I've seen those at like Nats. So
last year, every one of our regionals, we had Jetburn or Girl Power and drafts that were just £10. So essentially, you were paying a third of the price of the draft, and you got to take part in draft.
Huh. See, that was always my thing. Was instead of the bring your own booster draft, I felt like it should have been more like a traditional thing where you just have to actually get 8 people to pony up, $10 to $20 each, and then you'll make the cost of the box at least, But I guess getting 8 people together is the hard part.
And you'd also need 2 boxes, which is the other part.
Oh, do you need 2? I thought it would be. I guess that would only be 3 packs each. Yeah, you're right.
So you'd have to.
$20. $20 each. You pay for 2 boxes.
Yeah, $20 is what, $160. Yeah, that could work out. Yeah, I think we shouldn't more than make money. But
25 rounded off. I don't know.
No, I'm also hoping to find out what Drive does. I know we're only like a month out, but I need to know if that's a reversal effect. It reads like a reversal effect.
I need to know because I need to know. I'm planning on playing Jamie in Kentucky, and I don't care if they have to mail me an NDA. If you see Street Fighter 6 stuff, I need to know about it. I need to know all of the Jamie decks, so I need to know, what I'm playing for Kentucky. So UVS Games, mail me an NDA. It's
I mean, you are part of UKVersus now, so if we sponsor and play, get to tell each other what was in the meeting.
I'm UKVersus adjacent. My name's not on the contract of legal propriety, so that's why I said they need to email me one.
I'm sure it can be extended, but how about yourself, Sam? Is there anything you're looking to ask or anything you're hoping to find out?
It's tough. I looking at like the reminder text from Drive. It would be very weird if it was not a reversal style effect, right? It's like when we first saw Echo, all the old timey players were like, "Oh, this is cool. This is like multiple. It's like a fixed version of multiple." And so it would be super weird, but I could see it being like in the rules text where drive is like automatically like your turn, right?
Oh,
The same way that like deflect is like a hand ability in the rules.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be too surprised. Like I said before, I'm like burnt out on fighting against reversals in retro. So having like some new reversal style things that could both scratch the itch for people in standard so they stop spamming it in retro, and B, adding some more flavor to it so it's not always bamboo blind slice, precise blow, what's the 5 low 5 combo one, Rose Whiplash, that one. You
Skull
know, it's like
barrier.
it's always just the same reversals too. So yeah, I would love to see something like that. I would love to see um like any other Street Fighter based mechanics. I really hope, it's kind of funny. I was really hoping that Drive, when I first saw it, and I knew that there was a Guilty Gear set as well. I was really hoping that Drive would be something a little less generic, if only because Drive gauges are something that's in a lot of fighting games. There's more than one fighting game
Yeah.
that has a drive gauge, even just called the same gauge. And there's plenty more that have gauges that are effectively the exact same as the Street Fighter 6 drive gauge. In fact, I think the biggest difference in Street Fighter 6 is they just give it to you all at once. In most games, you have to build that meter. And in Street Fighter 6, they said, what if we just gave you all the meter at once? But when you spend it, you're screwed. And I thought that was really cool. So I'm wondering if Guilty Gear is going to have its own kind of a thing, because Guilty Gear has something called Dust, or like Dust attacks, which are like these big, huge, risky combo starters, and that's kind of its own thing. Like all of the Arc System Works games, they usually have like light, medium, heavy, and then their fourth button is always basically just like a drive button or a dust button. I think it's literally called drive in what's that fucking game called that I actually played? Oh, I'm blanking. This is so bad. Blaze Blue, Calamity Trigger, Blaze Blue.
Oh yeah, Blaze Blue.
So Blaze Blue has like a drive button, right? And like every character has their own system mechanic that's unique to the drive button, and they all do something very specific. And Guilty Gear is kind of the same way. Every character has like a very specific niche mechanic. So I'm really, really curious to see if Guilty Gear the set takes advantage of that with its own keyword mechanic, similar to the way that like Attack on Titan introduced Blitz. We're seeing gate or drive now for Street Fighter, and I'm hoping that Guilty Gear has something of its own.
Kind of similar to how we have EX and Powerful, which are fighting game mechanics, and every game has their own version of that.
Yes, like almost every fighting game now has EX attacks or enhanced attacks, as they call them in Mortal Kombat. And the something that I think would be really cool, something that is becoming more common in fighting games too, that I think Guilty Gear started. Don't quote me on this, but are you familiar with like the burst mechanic?
Fairly.
You mean like in like the Dragon Ball Z fighting game?
Yeah, Dragon
Fighters or
Ball Z
whatever?
Fighters has
Yeah.
a burst. Yeah. So it's X Factor Marvel versus Capcom now. It's I think just called Burst in Dragon Ball Fighters. I don't know if it has its own name in Guilty Gear, but everyone calls it bursting. And it's basically a one-time get out of jail free card per match. Or sometimes it's like a very long cooldown. In Guilty Gear, I think it's based on like how much of a secondary meter you have. And usually these days it also comes with like a huge power boost. So it's like a comeback mechanic where you're getting comboed. It's a combo breaker even, Mortal Kombat is combo breaker and stuff like that. So I would love to see like a burst mechanic where it's like you can play this card for free when you like really need it, right? Like maybe it's an action card like a Genkai's that's really expensive normally, but when you're in dire straits, you can like do its burst ability instead for like a cheaper cost.
Yeah.
But then maybe there's a drawback or like some heavy cost you have to pay later. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, when I was going through my theories on Critical Role, I was hoping we were going to get an upcast mechanic, which is like kind of like the opposite thing of like, say you only had one attack in hand, you could go, I will pay, rather than checking like the 4.
Cast Crotch Lightning.
Yeah, I'll cast Crotch Lightning at a 10 to double its stats.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
That would be cool. Kicker. That's just kicker for UVS. I'm
Here's a
amazed,
random
by
thought
the
that
way.
came up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I cut you off.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm amazed we haven't had like a straight up like increase the difficulty of this attack to get different benefits. Like,
That was on Rapper, wasn't it? Rapper
Yeah,
had a
Rapper's
whole
stuff
thing
had
of
some
increasing
stuff of
difficulty
that
for additional stats.
to get more stats.
oh, he does have like a card for that. Yeah, but I mean like
He's got
the
an attack and a
itself.
foundation that do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see like he's got attacks that like reward you for committing foundations, but I would love to see like a reverse walk the dog where it's like a 4 diff. Actually, Whirling Slash is kind of close to this, but they're always about committing foundations.
Yeah.
But I think if it's just literally increase the difficulty to increase like the stats and add additional effects, I think that would be super sick.
Yeah, it'd be very, very cool just to have these additional options. So if you've only got one attack in hand, it doesn't feel that bad because you can make this one attack really matter.
So kind of like Astaroth 2 in Retro.
Yeah, he basically has that on his face. He is like once per turn kicker.
Yeah, it's a once per turn form. You increase the difficulty of the next attack you play by any number, and then it gets like that much damage as well, or something like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the one thing I really liked about the One Piece card game. I'm not a huge fan of it. I didn't play it a lot. I didn't stick with it, but conceptually, the fact that like you can use your Dawn, which are like your energy cards in that game, and you can like assign them to your units for that turn to increase their power by like a flat number. And sometimes, like very rarely, they'll get like additional benefits if they have Dawn attached to them. I thought that was a super cool idea because of what you just said. Sometimes you just brick and you're like, well, I got like this one dude and I got 10 mana, because we're late game and I got nothing I can really do with it. Well, I can at the very least pour it all into one big attack. Having cards like that would be kind of cool.
I know we're moving away from like being the anime card game, but being able to just go, I've got to put it all in this one attack, big like anime finish style.
Spirit Bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that's the Azuka Midoriya Quirks Unleashed dream, right? Like that's like the power fantasy is, he builds up to this one for all moment. The issue though is that normally Deku has to get his ass beat for like 15 minutes of an episode, and Midoriya on the move is actually unhittable.
So here's a thought, since we were talking about like Street Fighter and design moving forward. Because you were talking about like the reminder text for Drive, I didn't remember seeing that, so I went back to look at the Street Fighter cards that we have seen. The Drive card doesn't have any reminder text, but Drive does look to be like Drive 1 is part of a cost. What if we're going to get a Drive meter or gauge now, similar to the Assassin skill tree? And we can pay, Drive 1 is we pay one of our like 3 drives, and that's how we use things like that moving forward.
That would be neat, but it sounds like it would be
convoluted as hell, I'm sure, but
it would be very weird, I think, to like limit that design space to just Street Fighter characters. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be.
No, I'm not saying for Street Fighter characters. What if it's going to be like a new rule? Like at the start of every game, you start with 3 drive. Yeah, you start with 3 drive.
I mean,
well,
yeah, that's to put it in the best terms. That's adding a lot to the mental load, especially given we've just been
Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity.
Especially, we've just had a big shake-up with Attack on Titan Battle for Humanity. Putting this kind of big shake-up in a Challenger series seems... if it was a set, I'd 100%, but going... Here's 2 characters that are Here's 4 characters that are completely changing the way we play the game by adding gauges to all characters if you're running these cards. I'm already quite skeptical of the fact it's going to be reversal by the fact that we're going to only have these cards on certain symbols.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this, like flavor-wise, nothing else considered, that would be like an absolute win. Because we just talked about how like in Street Fighter 6, they just give you the drive meter, which is different than like pretty much every fighting game before it. Even if you start with like some super meter, it's usually not your secondary meter that starts like filled up at the beginning of every round. So
Yeah,
it would be a flavor win.
and maybe we get cards in this Street Fighter set, and then just cards like in Guilty Gear and stuff, which can increase your drive, like gain 1 drive or something like that, so you can refill the meter as you go.
Drive
It would,
counters.
yeah, it would not counters.
Yes,
technically,
counters.
but it would
counters.
harken back to where the game started with fighting games. So for that flavor, since we're bringing fighting games back, starting with Street Fighter 6 and Guilty Gear, like it's literally a dumb idea that popped in my head, and I just thought I'd voice that in case I'm right.
Well, so I did have a nightmare scenario. Can I tell you guys what I thought my nightmare scenario was?
Yeah, go for it. That's what I have.
Getting Boulder Barrage Genboot 8 times?
No, that has happened to me, but I live.
Trinity guys are getting a reprint out of nowhere and just crashing the market.
Trinity Geyser would be cool.
I mean, that's Staff Strike, isn't it?
Sorta. Staff Strike is Trinity Geyser at home.
Yeah.
Staff Strike is more like double Geyser.
It's
like
Timu Geyser.
Yeah, it's Timu Geyser. I like that one. I'm stealing that one. Timu Geyser. No. So I had this random thought, and it's not really related to like what I think drive would be necessarily. But my nightmare scenario was it's a mechanic that involves a side deck. And I'm terrified of introducing like a side deck to this game, primarily because it's already convoluted as hell.
Yeah.
Also because of like the way that we have like bounce back to hand cards, you know, like would they bounce back to your deck or do they go to discard? It's different for every game I've played.
Yeah, like the Yu-Gi-Oh extra deck.
Kind of like the Yu-Gi-Oh extra deck, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also
deck,
the ruling triggers.
I said side deck. I guess that's like your sideboard. I meant extra deck.
Yeah. We knew what you meant.
Yeah, I've only played a few games with extra decks, and every game that didn't start with an extra deck and like introduced it later has pretty much always had it like ruin the game, homogenize the way games are played, having those cards on hand. The only ones that ever seem to like sort of survive an extra deck are ones where the extra deck is random. So the thought I had was, what if drive 1 means draw 1 card from your drive deck? Or what if you have like a drive deck and drive 1 means you get to reveal 1 card from it and it like adds its modifier to this attack. So for example, like you play your card with drive 1 after it successfully passes, but before we go to blitzes, you reveal a card from your drive deck and it says this attack gets +2/+2. Like that is my nightmare scenario. That's like I think the worst possible.
Well, let's not manifest that into reality then. That sounds
they've already
a lot more work.
If they were going to do anything like that, in my opinion, they'd have done it in Critical Role with the deck of many things wild magic aspect.
Maybe, but see that would have been cool. That's the only way. The only
just
way
said it
you'll
was a
ever
nightmare
get me.
scenario. What do you mean that would be cool?
No, you can get me with anything if it's deck of many things related. The deck of many things has only improved any D&D game I've ever used it in. I don't know
Calm
where
down,
it got
Grog.
this. Huh?
Calm down, Grog.
I don't. I'm just saying. I don't know where it got this negative reputation. I don't know who's having their games ruined by the deck of many things, but it has only made everything better. And tarot cards, tarot decks, in general, have only made things better in my life. So I would love it if we had a deck of many things in Universes, but I would still prefer it not to be an extra deck.
I think the deck of many things also gets a bit of a bad rep because during the Vox Machina epilogue, spoilers, so skip like ahead a couple of seconds, Grog goes missing for like 2 weeks because he pulls from the deck of many things and ends up in Pandemonium.
Pandemonium, he got off easy. One of my favorite D&D adventures was we had a deck of many things, and I homebrewed it because I knew everyone would fight over who gets to draw from it. Because normally once you draw from it, it like disappears, it goes and fucks off through time and space, and that's like a way to like limit it. And at first I thought it was a mistake, but it turned out to be the best thing ever because my players got trapped underwater in like a submarine that was disabled, and they had like a dragon flying above them, you know, over the water and everything, like threatening them. Mind you, the dragon can actually like breathe underwater. He's just toying with them, and all the players except one have drawn from the deck of many things already, and because they were all the ones who were excited to, but there was one character who didn't want to, and he like staunchly refused. He's like, no, what if I get my soul sucked out? What if bad things happen to me? The worst thing that could possibly happen is I lose all my magical items, because there's a card that's just lose all your expensive items.
Yeah.
And everyone thought it was so funny that he was worried about losing his items more than he was
His
losing
life.
his soul, right? And finally, after like this was probably hours of real life time, like them debating and trying to figure out the situation and like trying to convince him in character, he finally goes, all right, man, but I'm only gonna pull one card because I've got this Cloak of the Manta Ray and I can swim away. I can just leave you all here. The dragon doesn't care about me. I'll abandon all of you, So I'm only gonna pull one card, and guess which card he pulls?
Wish?
Lose all your magical items.
I want to say it's the Monarch or the Queen. I think it's the Monarch, where it takes away all of your magical items. And that cloak he's pointing at just disappears right in front of him. And now he's stuck with the rest of them. And they got to figure out how to actually fight this dragon. It was like the greatest moment, because he had just said, like, what if I lose all my items? It's so good. I would love a deck of many things. I don't know what they'd have to call it, but I'm here for it.
I think you just put it like a non-generic thing, so like a wild magic deck or something like that.
Deck of Boundless Chaos.
Scanlan's deck of
Boundless Chaos.
Things. And you put all your points.
The Chaos deck, and it's just
you could probably get away with like just having if there's like an in-universe like tarot god for Critical Role. I don't know too much about the Critical Role setting, or if it's even really that different.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about game design for about half an hour now. Like I said, unfortunately, I'm on a bit of a time constraint today. So let's talk about a hot button topic that we're going to be covering, and I'm sure a lot of us are going to have many questions on, and that is organized play. The one thing I want to hear from Josh about organized play is some consistency. We're on our fourth system in 4 years?
Yeah, I think.
Well, you gotta find one that works.
We've also had 3 teams in 3 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's one of those things that if you had new players coming in, if you had even people that have been playing a year, and then the organized play system just completely changes, and when they go, this happen a lot? Like first time, yeah, it's just one thing that I would love. I know Josh has just joined, and this system is working. But as you said in your latest video, Sam, the game is a lot more complex than it was 2-3 years ago. Attendance is down; it is slowly climbing back up, and organized players got a big uphill fight to do. And one of the biggest things we could have towards that is some consistency in how it's run.
I agree.
Yeah, I do think I talked to Josh a little bit at the most recent, I keep trying to call them EuroLeague championships, even though we only had 2 of those. At the most recent World Championship, I talked to Josh a little bit, and it wasn't really a conversation. I was just telling him hey man, I know this year was a shit show that you inherited, but the little stuff we've seen at the time back at Worlds looks really good. And I think that this system does look good. The problem is that I think that the idea of giving players a carrot, an invite to chase to encourage them to go to events, makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense on paper. I just think that if we eliminated all hurdles, like we did with regionals, right? The idea was we give players a carrot, they'll chase the carrot to qualify for big events. So let's apply that to regionals. And then we'll just give them a smaller carrot, a smaller hurdle. And that ended up backfiring really badly, right? No one wanted to do all that. People just didn't have time in their daily lives, necessarily to just go to whatever locals you needed to qualify for regionals. It ended up being really bad. while I do think that like this point system and like these invites are generous enough overall, I kind of feel like we just don't need the carrot. I feel like we should put more of that effort into making the pricing overall better, which they did obviously with the most recent announcements like prize wall tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that there was like this idea that getting points for worlds is like the primary prize. Getting an invite and stuff like in the competitive structure was like the prize. And I just don't think that enough Universus players really care about that. And I think if we just like take away the hurdles and we take away the invite structure in general, and we instead keep points, keep the point system, but turn that point system into a currency that players can use for perks. Like earning a day two invite would be something that you could theoretically spend points on. But maybe you would rather go to the Worlds Festival and instead of playing like in the main event through day two and stuff, you would rather spend those points that you earned at like one regional that you went to do an event or to do like an experience like meeting like voice actors or something like that instead of competing in the main tournament. Does that make sense?
So similar to like
Yeah.
what the Redemption Store is doing now, once we actually see what kind of experiences are going to be put on there, you also
Yeah.
have like a way to spend competitive points through there.
Yeah, like I in Denver, I knew too many people who played through the whole event and said, I really wish I didn't because I don't care about these points anymore. It was like I had to top 8 or bust, or I had to top 4 or whatever. And they got like 11. They got like, you know, one win out, one tie away from making it in the top cuts. And because the event didn't have enough players to make a top 16, you know, they just really wish that they had done something else with their time. But they also weren't necessarily like super hyped about the side events because at the time they didn't have time to play enough side events to make getting those tickets matter. Right.
Yeah.
So like let's just stop making people choose. Let's let them have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's one of the things that when I went through the enhanced pricing, I was like, it's great, but it's kind of a good start. It's how it should have been from the start. I do love the prize wall ticket aspect. I do love the fact that it is a living system that they are adapting. And I do love the fact going to Albuquerque nets you 11 tickets just for showing up if you signed up before April 25th, which is just an
Yeah.
insane amount of tickets to get hold of. But there is kind of a disconnect with what you're getting for showing up now than you were last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think 2 years ago they did an entire regionals where if you signed up early and brought a new player, you got a booster box for showing up.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
I
I wasn't
didn't hear
able to take
about that
advantage of
until
it, but I
was too
remember it.
late. Yeah, I didn't know about that until it was too late, and I think I actually did have like exactly 2 new people play like their first event. I missed out on 2 boxes or something.
Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things that when we look at the old regionals, like the regional license exams, when we look at the prizing that people came into the game on, I think people have been kind of a bit spoiled because top 4 in 2021 2022 got you a Nintendo Switch.
Dude,
And,
bring back Switches.
and,
I'm so mad I didn't.
not with this economy.
and
I'm
top 4 now
so-
gets you a few booster boxes and a few promos. Now it gets you a lot more promos thanks to the prize war stuff. But it's mostly like looking at what you got for attending regionals when a lot of people that are playing now started the game, as opposed to now, there is a massive dip, and it is a shame.
A little bit.
Yeah, I guess for me the biggest thing is, you know, I know that there's people who are going to top regionals this year, and they're not going to Worlds. You know, they might not even know that they're not yet. They just showed up to play for fun when they could, and when Worlds comes around, they won't have time. They'll have
Yeah.
something else, some other engagement they weren't planning to. Maybe they don't even like the format at the time. And what I'm kind of proposing is, what if we just let them keep the points? Like, let's say it's like what? It's 200 points to get like a day 2 invite, right? And you like get the 200 points by top 4ing 2 regionals or something. but then you don't actually want to play at Worlds, or you can't play at Worlds for whatever reason. What if they just keep those points for next year? And if there is a Worlds that they want to play at, that they can pay for their invite with those points that year, or throughout regionals out the year, they could pay, use their points for other perks. I don't know exactly what those perks would be, because a lot of people would be upset if the perks were something like a round one buy. And I don't know.
I don't think those are coming back.
Yeah,
No.
so that was, I think buy is like small, like a day one invite is like kind of crazy, but I feel like a 1 round or 2 round buy is not a big deal. It's just actually implementing the system to like handle that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
but like,
Corin's in the chat saying that they basically can't afford to go to the US, and for people in the EU and Australia, that's a big part of the point system as well. Is if they get a day one invite, it's going to cost, like, I think Worlds this year cost me just under $1,000, and that's because we did like a massive house share. Whereas I know some of the Australians paid well over $2,000 in Australian dollars to be there.
yeah, so like, what if hypothetically it's like $200, 200 points for a day two invite, or like a Worlds buy, or whatever you want to say. But what if you actually accumulated 1,000 points? What if it probably took 2 years of regionals, especially depending on what region you're in, and for that 1,000 points, you could cash in a VIP experience where they fly you out to a regional and pay for your hotel. Maybe everything else is like on you, right? But you like pay for like this VIP experience, and now all of a sudden, you playing in regionals opens the gateway for you to play at more regionals. Again, albeit it would have to be like a ridiculous like stretch goal kind of a thing. But that's like the kind of world I want to be in.
I can see where it's coming from, but it's also one of those things that you're going to end up just with people hoarding the points, and I think they just want to generate the hype around Worlds.
Wait, hold up. You just said they're going to be hoarding the points like it's a bad thing. For them to hoard points, what do they have to do, Brett?
True.
They have to participate. They have to go to the events. Like, again, this is like kind of pipe dreamy stuff.
I think this just needs to be something on the redemption store. Like if they put a 10,000 points will fly you out to a regionals and cover all your expenses kind of thing.
Well, I suggested that the redemption store have a day two invite with loyalty points back after year one. Like for like year two, I was like, if we're gonna do like invites to Worlds, absolutely redemption points. Again, it should be like the ridiculous, like, you go to Chuck E. Cheese and the RC car is like the 999,000 tickets,
But I think.
Well, here's a question.
Yeah, go on.
Because of how our point structure's set up right now, would we then, if we're implementing the pipe dreamy thing, would we want to have majors points as something different from like the championship points that you could earn from like locals, or would we want to, because people could then just travel around grinding locals, which I think would make less sense to go towards this big dream, because if we want people to participate in stuff that's going to put more money in the company's pocket so they can afford these big ticket things, for these points, wouldn't it make more sense to do it regional enough?
No, I think that because that's the entire point of the point system, is to get people to travel to go to more local stores, to get more local stores involved.
Yeah.
Because in the end, if more people are going to the local store asking to play the game, to grind these points, more stores are running the game. They're buying the game, which is then going directly into Mr. UVS's pocket. So
that makes sense.
So the idea, the entire point of the point system, I believe, is to build the store, build it up, the like player base at a store level, which is why we have the store scrambles and stuff, and like saying anyone can get to Worlds from a local player to a regional winners, which is it's a great thing to do. It's just we need the stores to actually bite.
Well, and all I'm really doing is saying, like, put some lofty like dream prizes up there, like make it more of like a currency that has more things to spend it on, because right now points are just kind of like this binary like pass fail. Like you need so many, I guess, for day one, or is day one open. No, day one's open invite, right? So
No,
like
Day one, you need 50, I
yeah,
think.
day one you need 50.
day one you
I
need
think
50. Yeah, okay.
Which
think-
is
I'm
why
not
I
gonna
need to
get
make
50.
Pop 16 at Louisville.
Yeah,
So I can
like, I'm not
guarantee
even gonna
that,
get-
so I don't keep my other locals out by beating them at locals.
And I think we need 150 in the UK to get a day to invite for EU.
And we need
Okay,
200, I think, for the
Yeah.
UK, for the US.
So
Sam, how long have you been playing?
I've been playing since 2013.
Okay, so you remember when Jasco Games used to have like the PTC circuit?
Correct.
Winning a PTC, didn't that earn you like a plane ticket to any other US based tournament?
You know,
Like
I
a value of $250 or less? Like they would basically pay for your flight to go to another regional or nationals or worlds?
yeah, my understanding is they advertise as a plane ticket. I
Yeah.
don't know the specific details or the amounts, and I don't know how many people actually got that prize. I know there's a few people.
So kind of
who
similar
never got
to
the
the Keyforge Vault Tours, where if you won a Vault Tour, they give you like $600 towards your next Vault Tour.
Correct.
Yeah, like something
so-
to help you with your travel expenses. Like, we could pay for your hotel room if you go to this one, or we can pay for your flight to this one if you just tell us which one you're wanting to go to. We'll help you with the arrangements. That could be something for like, regional winner, top 2, something like that, as an additional prize,
So-
maybe instead of a Switch, because it would still probably be cheaper than a Switch too at this point. But I also remember, because my very first tournament was a world championship. You didn't have to qualify; you just showed up.
Right. So that's so the two things I'm trying to get at is like the barrier of entry has always been really low. I mean, it was to the point where if you went to the Universus World Championship back in the day, they paid for your ticket to the convention.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
just
would
showed up
go
with
to-
you just showed up with a deck, and they were like, "Hey, here's a 3-day
Here's a
pass
badge."
to level up. Go
Yeah.
upstairs and register."
Like
I remember that.
I've never been a con goer, so I like fully I won't say took it for granted because it's not like I was really having fun doing other stuff there. But for people who do enjoy conventions and enjoy level up, like that's a huge, huge benefit. Like that's a huge ticket. Like a 3-day pass at level up is at least hundreds of dollars now.
I think it was like 180 because my wife went with me the next year, and we were gonna
Yeah.
buy her a ticket since I was gonna get one for free, and they just this is long enough in the future. They just gave her one when I checked in. I was
Yeah.
like, can I give her this and we can just pass it back and forth? And he just handed me another lane. And he goes, I don't care.
They don't get paid enough.
All right, cool.
Right. We're
Yeah,
getting,
so
uh,
So really quick, the whole like scheme of Universes in the past was trying to get people to play the game, to get them through the game. So like in the scenario where a UK player can't afford the plane ticket to Worlds and topping a regional doesn't change that, instead of making them pay to go to Worlds with points, if they can pay, again, granted probably more points to get that plane ride, they just get to play more Universes.
yeah, or even
Right?
just
And,
like a
like-
conversion rate of say at the end of the season, half your overall. If you don't attend Worlds, half your competitive points will be put into your loyalty points.
That's my thing is I think it'd be cool if they actually were just the same. If we just roll, because you're not going to get redemption points anymore, right? You get points only for playing in events.
And
If I'm not
for
mistaken.
cracking boxes.
And for buying boxes.
Oh, you have to buy boxes now. That's right. Yeah. So it's not
Yeah,
pack
'cause you get
redemption.
the-
Well, not
you get the
yet.
insert.
In
So,
August.
So how cool would it be if you're like a super whale of the game and you're like, I bought a bazillion cases, whatever, however many, 100 cases trying to chrome hunt, and now you've got enough loyalty points that it buys you a plane ticket to go play in the event. So like you're primarily a whale collector, but now you've got like no excuse not to go to the event because you've probably got everything else in the reward store. You're the whale, right? Like you've opened every
Yeah.
possible product you can. You went and got every single promo.
It would
and
definitely
then-
make travel a lot cheaper for Sean O'Brien.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, well, so store owners, I mean, I don't know what their deal with that is, but
True.
you know, if you're getting stuff at cost at not MSRP, maybe You know,
He does.
maybe
He
there's
does
some
open the
limitations.
most amount of boxes. So I'm
Yeah.
saying.
But I'm
I would say
saying,
that would be cool if it was all astronomical, obviously, to make it worth
yeah,
their time to make sure that we're supporting the
they
game.
can't be handing out a lot of these, right? Like this has to
No,
be a
make
small
it
percentage.
one per account, either per year or per season, and year rolls over at Worlds.
Well, no, I'm gonna say let people fucking ball out if they're going to. But again, this is the kind of person who has to buy like 100 cases. Like this is
or
somebody.
top a whole bunch of
Yeah,
regionals.
this is not someone. This is not someone who found an infinite money glitch. This is gonna be somebody who is naturally buying this product from you for your game, and now they're not only incentivized to like kind of keep doing it or maybe go a little bit further, but they are just being rewarded. They're just being rewarded additionally, and again, like I don't think the way it would have to be set up, it would encourage people to go super hard and like spend extra money. But you never know. There is people out there who might do that, and it would be good for your game and their local game store.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the last topic I wanted to talk about, seeing as we're all here. So we will be having a kind of strategy meeting with UVS and ourselves about content creation. And as someone who's been making content much longer than me, Sam, and will probably be making content about this game long after I've retired, what are you looking to get from this?
When did you start making content?
2 years ago, yesterday.
I started making content 4 years ago, so not that much longer.
I think I started last
Three
year.
and a half. Yeah. I
I'm the
really
baby of the trio.
I didn't start till post COVID as a way to, in a weird way, it was like to like kind of archive stuff because we didn't have any archival, and ironically, we've had people start doing archival and then stop. So it's been pretty rough.
That's right. But what are you looking to get as a content creator from the summit? Is there any like areas you're looking to get more information from, or are you just looking to get tips and tricks from UVS, or like just collab ideas, just meet up and talk with other content creators?
I think the biggest thing for me personally is just to have like a better like personal relationship with the people behind the scenes. I don't really talk to like any UVS employees. I don't involve them in my content. I've been explicitly asked not to involve them in my content. And so this could be the kind of thing where like maybe that bridge is gapped. Maybe the people who put that gag order in place, maybe they're not quite as involved or maybe they're not in charge anymore and there's new people I can, sort of talk to and have contact with at the company. So this seems like a very personal, like social opportunity first and foremost. As a content creator, I really can't ask for much. I don't think there's anything that they should do for me. It's cool when they include me in stuff. The only thing I can say is I just like the one thing I want Universus Games to do as a content creator is grow the game. Because if there's more people playing the game and watching the content, then there's more opportunities for all of us. And it's very difficult to stay motivated when like the video I just put up today, I started the script for that like before the bands and erratas came out, and it like morphed over to like two different videos coming together, and it took me like a week because every day I could just tell myself, well, there's no real deadline. I'm not really going to make money from putting this video out. It doesn't really help me in the algorithm. Like I'm not doing all the algorithm stuff. Like if I go to the summit and they're just like, here's tips for getting your thumbnail clicked on in the algorithm and how you should make shorts content, like that doesn't help me personally because I'm not monetizing my content. I don't even really have a plan to monetize my content. And strictly speaking, ethically and morally, I shouldn't monetize the majority of my content because it's using assets I don't own, right? So like as a meme creator, like primarily it's my only concern is like we need more people to play the game, and that's it.
Yeah. So if we can get tips and tricks from UVS and other content creators about how to engage new players, help new players, and like keep people in the game, because we've just had Attack on Titan, which brought in a lot of people We've just had Critical Role, which got lots of eyes on this game. Soul Leveling got lots of eyes on the game. And now we've got Guilty Gear and TMNT, which is TMNT is actually specifically keeping some people in the game, which is kind of cool. So it's one of the things that if we can get tips and tricks, not algorithm stuff, like how we can help UVS lock in players and like help the game grow, that would be perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, something like that would be cool. I think another one of the things, and I made a joke with Brett about this yesterday because he was asking me what I would want to tell UVS Games or have him tell me. But I think one thing I'd like to see, like, don't get me wrong, UVS Games, if you're watching, I do appreciate all the support we do get, like in terms of the free product. I'm not gonna lie, that is really great, and it has helped me financially a lot because it takes some of the easement off of me. But more like support from UVS Games as a creator would be huge. If they had something like on their official website of, oh, here's a content page, because you see like they have like Universus, other games, news about retail. If they had a content tab and it linked to a bunch of content creators, obviously in good standing, because they don't want someone who's going to trash the game. But like, hey, here's this creator. If you're looking for fun tips and tricks, if you're looking for deck building help, here's like Tam Cardwell. If you're looking for how to play the game, there's me. Stuff like that, and just had little profiles for like
But
some of their top creators, and
it's a
that could help
tough
get
one.
more eyes on our content.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one because one, you're putting a label on people, which is kind of hard. My most viewed and most like best video is the basics on how to deck build, which people like even on Reddit
Same.
now are like doing. But it's a case of so whose channel do they put under that? Do they put my video or your video? It putting people into boxes is kind of
tricky.
and then UVS then also needs to make
put
sure these.
Tulare Community College's video. What are you talking about?
I know, but yeah,
they paid for that video.
Yeah.
You've also,
but it does look like in their how to play section they have taken all of those community videos down and put their own official one up.
Yeah. The learn to play section now with the basic breakdowns and everything is really cool. But if you had a content creator tab, they'd have to have someone like Matt or Guile constantly keeping it up to date because there are people who go on hiatus. There are people who haven't made content in months. It's a case of Ty's House of Cards is one of the best and well-known content creators in the game. Hasn't made content in months. Did they still go on the list?
And he blew up because he did the right thing in the very beginning, which was make a how to play video. Like, if you go back, it's super funny because I was looking up old videos for the Bands in Errata video I posted today. I had to go find the old Universus TCG YouTube to like find content for that. And like, it's crazy to look back at how they were like promoting content creators back then. And as somebody who didn't really get any of that, like that was huge. I still to this day believe that like my channel is stunted at like less than 1,000 subscribers because they never put me on a calendar. I was never interviewed. I was never like incorporated in stuff. And no matter how much I like spoke to them and said, hey, I'm down to be a team player. Like I just was never included in that. And every time I would host events and try to be included and ask to be on the calendar, it would always ruin it for everyone else. They would be like, oh, we can't do that anymore. And now all of a sudden there's no calendar for anyone's events because I tried to host one or, I don't know. There was just so many things like that first year though.
Yeah, we can talk about like the old not to put like a gender on it, but the term like it's a term for this kind of thing. The old boy club that is UVS is like there are people that are in good standing with the company that aren't in the best standing with the community. There are people who are not in good standing with the company who are in good standing with the community. So there's always going to be that kind of back and forth. There's always going to be that divide between the company and the community. But it does suck when people can't progress or can't feel like they're not welcomed at events or not welcome to take part in universal things that should be open to them because some people associated or friends with people in the company just say don't do it.
that? I guess I've never had that come up. I've never heard of that happen.
I've heard stories of people like in meetings or stuff like that, and they felt everything's gone well, and then it's all just fallen apart because someone in one of the back rooms just went, "Yeah, don't work with that person," and stuff like that. I'm not going to give examples or anything because it's all
Right.
just
No, that's
rumors
fair.
and stories and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
speculation.
It's all speculation, but I've heard it happen to a few people. It might just be them being paranoid and over
Well,
analyzing.
it makes more sense when you put it that way. I guess it sounded a little different the first time, but so that's the other thing too, right? Though is like if they did have a content creator page, and I think a big reason why they don't do this stuff anymore is you would have to go through and like rate all the content.
Yeah,
Like it's easy if you work with people who have monetized content because you can mostly trust the YouTube guidelines to keep them in check. You know, people who monetize censor themselves on YouTube, and it's just tough for me because like I'm very much in that position where I don't feel the need or the necessity to do things like that because I'm so far away from my brand being monetized. But if you told me that tomorrow the main Universus page would feature my video, you know, and they would actually promote it or work with me in any way, like I would do that kind of thing, right?
yeah. I think it'd
But
be the kind of thing you'd have to work with UVS for. They'd be like, "Oh, we want to make a content page where we can feature people, and like, can you make us a video specifically to talk about the kind of content you make, so
right.
people
But
could come and find you if they need to."
but really quick, what I was gonna say is what you were just talking about, where like I curry more favor with the community by being not PC or not PC is not the right way, but like
Yeah,
by
More
cussing in my video.
authentic and less corporate.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. And so like Tam has felt the ramifications of that immensely in the very first year, right? Like he's a guy who for the most part did all of that. I don't know if he like censors his content or whatever, but I know he's like monetized on YouTube, so he can't be cussing that much. You know, he can't be doing like the
Not in the
most.
first 30 seconds at least.
Yeah.
I think
right.
it's the first 10 minutes, something
Yeah.
like that.
Whatever it is, right? But so
But what I was talking about is like at the least we three, and I can't speak for other creators, put a lot of work into our content, and we put out quite a good amount of content. Like if you've seen how I can do this because Brett's right next to me. This man puts out a video a day almost, all of that. But his channel's not big enough to turn that even into like a part-time job worth of money. But if we had a way to get more eyes on that, to get more viewers, so that it could take a little bit of and basically make like all of the work you're doing a little bit more worth it. Like
well, so
I know that's what like Patreons are for, but like what you said with like the type of content you make, I'm mostly a teaching channel. I would feel horrible putting the how to play stuff behind a paywall. But it would still be nice to have a little bit in my back pocket to make all of this extra work I'm doing a little bit more worth it and a little bit like so it doesn't just feel like work for free. And then if we got big enough a viewership bump, we could monetize our channels.
So that's what I'm saying is there's nothing that they can do for you in your channel to make that happen. The only thing they can do is grow the game.
Yes.
The company has to grow the game. If I got every single person who actively plays Universus once a month to subscribe to your channel, how many people do you think that would be? And how much do you think that would actually like change your life?
I think you'd get the basic monetary, the 500 subscribers and the basics, but yeah, I don't think you'd get the consistent. You need to be over 1,000 subscribers and have the like 10K viewer time. I think people that
in order to monetize.
To get the full monetization. It's one of the things I've been saying in the content creator chat whenever it's been brought up. It's a simple case of I will work with you, yes, because it's a symbiotic relationship. They want to make this the best game in the world. Fine, I will hold them to that standard. Because if they make this the best game in the world, the content creators covering that have been there since the beginning get to cover their best game in the world. The more they grow, the
Well,
more beneficial it can be for us.
this is probably a topic for another podcast, but
Yes.
you got to also be very willing to swallow that pill. If Universus ever did become that big, you know it would just get vultured by bigger platforms already.
Oh,
And your best bet, like your best avenue, would be to be the person collaborating with those bigger fish, so to speak. Which I think we started to see Tam do it with was it Anna Margaret? I like hung out with her all weekend in Denver and like tried to like find any time where she had a moment to like do any kind of content, and it never came up, right?
Oh,
But like,
Anna's lovely. She was the first judge on Bake Off with Disaster Dan.
yeah.
She's absolutely
so,
amazing.
like,
I've spoken to her a bit.
So that is probably the smartest thing any of us can be doing right now, anyways, and that will almost certainly be the path to success in the future if the game,
Yeah.
you know, knock on wood, when the game grows, is to just be collaborating with honestly bigger fish outside of the Universus bubble. I've been sending cold calls out to big Yugi tubers, trying to get them to play Stud or Stinker, because I think that would be massive for the game. If it's like, was it Team APS tries to guess how good My Hero Academia cards are? Like, they were pretty happy with the My Hero product they got sent, but I never got an email back.
Yeah, it's probably something I should do more. I mean, I did cold call 30 artists to try and get interviews. I could probably do the same thing with bigger content creators and stuff like that. But I've really got to go, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been great having you on here, Sam.
He's tired and stressed. He deserves some rest.
It's been a long week, and it's going to be an even longer week with traveling over to America. We'll definitely get you
started.
We'll definitely get you back on to have a bit more of a breakdown into that stuff after the summit, because I think collaboration and stuff is going to be part of the thing they talk about. But we'll leave it there. Big thanks to Cameron for being here as always. Big shout out to Sam Tate, aka Ace Maneuvers.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you to experience this amazing content?
Oh, they can find me at youtube.com/AceManeuvers.
There we go.
Or if you just watch the Universus content channel in the main Discord, you'll almost certainly see everything that's worth watching. Really, I mean, that's everyone's content, right?
Yeah. And make sure you do dip into the UVS other games, because some people do get confused and they post in the Universus content as well. But
oh yeah, I gotta start making Riftbound content.
Apparently, it's a hot topic.
It is a very hot topic. But I will leave it all there. I will see you in a few days, Sam. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, Cameron. And I'll hopefully see you all in the comment section. I'll catch you on a bit. Bye.
Peace out.
See ya.